So now we made it to Rogue, which is really interesting because Rogue really usually gets some super fun cards. We'll start out with 2 mana Petty Theft, which gets to 2 random 1-cost spells from other classes. I think this card in general is just like mega slow. And the only thing that makes this somewhat justifiable is that prep exists. And prep gets things out cheap, but I don't know. There's already the 2 mana card that discovers the card from another class as like a spell, and then gives you a copy. 2 random 1-cost spells I think are just too bad. Like, it's interesting for Paladin with a 10 mana spell, but I even think they won't play this. And then you have 2 mana O Manager. Deal 2 damage, combo, get a coin. Alright. That's like a more reliable way of getting a coin than the throw dart thingy. Even though it's obviously like a worse card, right? But more coins? More coins, more better, more wishing well? I mean... Okay. Okay. I'm just gonna leave this here. Also, it's kind of funny. You could play this in Paladin, and it's like 1 mana, deal 2 damage, but you play 2 spells. It's actually kind of nice. You get a coin. You could play like coin and a double cast the coin because it costs less than 2. Oh. But it's kind of hard to prep this in Paladin. Yeah, this goes out twice with Paladin Legendary, but you probably don't have the mana to do so. Unless you could go like... You play one of them, you get a coin, then you play the Paladin Legendary, then you double coin to play this to get 2 more coins, to double coin to then play your 10/10s, your 5/5s, I mean. That could actually kind of work. It's a little bit of a pipe dream though. But at the same time, like, why are we not playing Greedy Partner? Isn't that better? Because I can play like more proactively and I don't. I guess I need another 2-cost card. But I guess like in Wishing Well Rogue you play this. But I'm not sure Wishing Well Rogue is that great. I'm not sure about the Paladin uses. Seashell. Battle cry, the next card you play from a non-rogue class costs 2 less. Okay. That's pretty funny because like... You can put this in your Paladin deck and then it just works with all the Paladin cards. First I was thinking this card is Garbo. Like I was actually thinking this card is like mega trash. Wait, maybe it's actually just mega trash. Like, the good thing is that you don't have to do it this turn, it can just be later. But I'm spending like 3 mana, I'm like losing infinite tempo and I have to put another good card out of my deck to get this. This kind of feels like a no thank you. Like, the more I think about it, this feels like a no thank you. I don't know, I just like, why would I do this? It just loses me infinite tempo. Okay. Metal Detector, 3 mana 2/2. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, get a coin. Opponent doesn't play minions, smiley face. I mean, like, you obviously only play this in like Wishing Well Rogue, right? This has no other usage. Like, also, you're not putting this in Paladin, I think. I think it's just not happening. Knick Knack Shack. Draw a card. If you play this turn, reopen this. I mean, this is pretty funny. If you like... But you basically have to draw like a prep, right? There's not that many that cheap cards. I guess you can just play it, and then you just chill. And then you do it next turn. That's probably smarter, actually. You can probably play it, and then use it, and then wait a turn, and then go ham. It's probably not that bad. It's also, what I really like about this card is how good this is with the giant. Like, think about it. If you just play all the cards off the top, you can play the giant so quickly. I think this is like more of a rogue card. I don't think this really works in Paladin. But there's this 10 mana giant that costs 2 less for every time you use a location. If you fully use up this location, it already costs 2 mana. Alright, it's -2 every time you use a location. I think there's something that could work like this, especially since they nerfed like the Gaslight Keeper rogue a little bit. It's interesting. You'll probably have to combine this with like other card draw cards, and like the 8 mana spell, the Everything Must Go rogue spell, that's actually just a really sick card. Like it makes for like some really good usage. It's interesting the way that this should work. I'm not 100% sure how. But I feel like there's a deck with this somehow. Locations are also very typical for this expansion, so they get a lot of support. So I feel like this should be a very good card. It's like the Edwin mechanic, but you can... The good thing about the location is you can invest the location on one turn and then you can go off. It's like you could wait with your Edwin effect for the next turn. But then Edwin, of course, had like way better cards, right? Had like stenographers and whatever that were like just way better. So yeah, I think this card is really, really good. I'm really excited for this one. For the location. So it was a 3 mana for duration location, knick-knack sack, draw a card. If you play it this turn, reopen this. I'm kind of forgetting to say the names of cards. I'm sorry about that. Next up, we have a 4 mana 4/4 Convincing Conman. It's a pirate, and Battlecry will play the last card you've played from another class. I like that it's Battlecry because that means that you can immediately use the effect. The question is like, what kind of cards am I having from other classes that are like really worth putting this in my deck? I do think Rogue plays a lot of like really mediocre cards, so this is quite interesting. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to think of this, because it's like it replays a card. I'm not sure how good it is on curve. I guess you can like discover a trolley problem, and then you can trolley problem and have like a mega board. You've also discarded your whole hand, but that's a different story. I'm gonna put this as like a 2-star card for now. The interesting part about this card is that like if you're a paladin and you put like multiple rogue cards in your deck, you can just, you know, you can just use this. Or I mean, I guess if you're rogue and you'd use warlock cards, you can just recast a warlock card. That's probably just good enough. Like if you're touristing anyway, you might just use this. It's pretty good with tourists. Alright, 3 mana 3/3 Battlecry, set the attack and durability of your weapon to 3. It's a pirate, 3 mana 3/3 pirate. That makes your weapon a 3/3. So you can dagger on 2 and then you could like attack and then you, or not, and you can make it a 3/3 weapon. Or you can have the shovel. I mean, Alexander's gonna love this card because it's potentially a lot of damage. It's even fine, like, if you play Cutlass Rogue. And Cutlass Rogue, it gets a lot better as well, because you have, like... It's just another weapon buff for that. Pretty cool with Painter's Virtue as well. Like, the hand buff Paladin card, you use 2 charges of it, and then you reset it to 3 durability with 3 attack and lifesteal. That's mega nuts with the hand buff Paladin card, and it's just another minion. Like, it's hyper greedy, but your deck doesn't work without this card anyway, so why not just go, like, harder, right? It's pretty interesting with quick pick too. Has a lot of like decent uses. The question is like, it's a really weird card to evaluate because like if it hits, there's a lot of scenarios where you can think about this card and be like, man, that's amazing. But is it really what you want to be doing in Hearthstone? Like, is it just like often the time that gets stuck in your hand? I guess this can never really truly get stuck in your hand as a rogue, because you can always just dagger and do this. I mean, at worst, you can dagger and play this and you get Assassin's Blade. Assassin's Blade used to be 5 mana, 3 attack, 4 durability. So at least it's like, it's an Assassin's Blade with a 3/3 body. I don't know. I think that's pretty interesting. I think it has some application. I would not be surprised if this card saw a decent amount of play. Like, I don't know, Painter's Virtue. I don't know about Quick Pick. Quick Pick I feel like is a weird case where I'm like not really sure I want to draw that many cards. But I guess. But I can also see you playing this in Excavate Rogue. Or any weapon rogue for that matter. Alright, Snatch and Grab, 8 mana. Destroy 2 random enemy minions. Cost 1 less for each card you've played from another class. I mean, these cards from another class thingies are like so good, but destroy 2 random enemy minions. The weird part is like if you want to get a lot of cards from other classes, technically what you want to do is you want to play like, you want to get the Scorpion first, or you want to Excavate first, and if you Excavate first, don't you just want to play the 3 mana 4/3 that destroys a minion? I mean, I guess this can cost 0, which is pretty nice. If you think about current Excavate rogues, they really do not play that many cards from other classes. Like, you can probably make, like, if you want to play like Test Rogue, you probably still want to Excavate because you still want the Scorpion. But there's a lot of cards in like this deck that are kind of mediocre and that don't really have too much of a space in it. And that you could replace. But if I would have to bet, I would say that this card does not see play. I think this is my first hot take of the day, is that this card does not see play. Yeah, that's my first hot take of the day. It's like 8 is too many. It's gonna be too hard to play. Alright. I hope I don't get proven wrong. I mean, maybe I hope I do get proven wrong. 8 mana 4/5 pirate, Treasure Hunter Eudora. I love the art on this one. Like the pirate head on the Eudora steering a ship with the treasure in the background. Battlecry, go on a side quest. To discover an amazing loot, play 3 cards from another class to complete it. Alright. And then there's Perils. There's gameplay of this as well. Quality's not amazing. When you play this and then you go on a side quest and you fulfill the side quest, and then you get to discover 2 amazing treasures. Okay, so what happens is you play the 6 mana 4/5, you get a side quest. The side quest is Eudora's Treasure Hunt. Play 3 cards from other classes. Reward, discover 2 amazing prices of loot. Right? And the amazing prices of loot are the Kazakhstan treasures. So you get to discover 2 of them. And of course, if you discover the Blade and the Hilt of Keltalar, you get Keltalar, which is mega broken. But you can also just discover 2 good ones. A lot of the treasures are not that amazing, but there's also some that are like mega insane. I mean, we always want Book of the Dead, because by the time this is active, it's deals 7 damage to all enemies, costs 0. Book of the Dead, of course, is the 14 mana card that costs 1 less for each minion that died this game from the Kazakhstan treasure. I'm not going to go through all the Kazakhstan treasures because there's too many, so like just check out the Kazakhstan treasures if you want. But there's some really sick ones, like Book of the Dead together with Embers of Ragnaros are like game finishing stuff. 7 damage for 0 mana to all enemies, and then 3 Rag Fireballs. Can you just do... It's interesting, you have to do quite a lot. You have to play the 6 mana 4/5, then you have to play 3 cards from another class, and then you can play your rewards. There's some pretty sick ones there though. They take quite some time to get. Like Ancient Reflections can be super game winning, but there's also quite a few that are like really, really bad. Like all the weapons are probably like way too slow in those spots. Krusty's too slow. But yeah, I mean, you just want Book of the Dead. Like, how often do you discover Book of the Dead? That's kind of the question. And you probably don't discover it often enough, I think. So, but I'm interested in this card. This is surely a card that we'll want to mess around with, because Kazakhstan treasures are mega nostalgia, and 6 mana 4/5 for a card is a steep cost, I have to say. But wait, isn't Marin just better? The more I think about it, Marin might just be better. It's a 7 mana 6/6, and you like just doing the crown is kind of like playing the crown is kind of like having fulfilled the side quest somehow. I would not be surprised if Eudora gets buffed, and I think the buff to Eudora might be that she discovers 3 amazing pieces of loot. I think she might not be good enough, and you might have to play like, I think it might get buffed, because first you play this, then you play 3 cards from another class, and then you get the loot, and then the loot might be not super amazing. Alright. And last but not least, we have Maestra, Masked Merchant, which is a 6 mana 6/5 legendary, which is the Warlock Tourist battle cry. Discover a hero card from the past from another class. XDD. I mean, the thing is, I think if this card would not say Warlock Tourist on it, you would probably not play it. Like, heroes are insane. Heroes in Burglebroke are pretty funny, because when you do play a hero from another class and you play Tess, Tess starts playing every single rogue card you've played the entire game as well, you know? Like, it does some pretty crazy stuff with Tess, which is mega late game value. But in order to do that, you have to kind of play this, then you have to play that hero, and then you have to play the Tess. Right? And there's a lot of heroes. They're not even all linked, but there's a few heroes where I'm like, would I even play this in my rogue? Like, even if I could, would I put this in my rogue? Like, if I didn't have to play a 6 mana 6/5 to do it, would I do it? Like, I'm not even sure. You know? But it's a Warlock Tourist, so you surely put this in your deck, because as a rogue you want Warlock cards. Warlock cards have lifesteal. Warlock cards have all tons of stuff. So I think you'll probably put this in your deck just to get access to the Warlock cards, because you want them in your deck building. That's my first guess. My first guess is you want Warlock cards, because if you play Warlock cards, you also can immediately activate your Valrog, for example, right? You just play a Warlock card. Just do it. just have access to different kind of things, and it makes your deck building better. It gives you immediately activators for your tests and whatnot. I mean, the art is amazing. Yeah, all the like skulls that she's holding. It's a pretty cool card. I think you play it just to get access to the Warlock cards, like you probably do with a lot of the tourists. You just play them to get access to the other cards. And then if this, I don't think you have to build your deck around it. But if this works sometimes and you get an amazing outcome and you have the time to play it, like a lot of the times you'll probably not be able to play it just because it's like so expensive. But the times you do get to play this, and you do get to discover a hero, and maybe you get a really sick one. Like maybe you get Cariel Paladin, and you can only take half damage for the rest of the game, and you just kind of chilling and you become a control deck. Or you become, I don't know, Gul'dan, and you lifesteal 3 damage every turn. Like there's some good hero powers. The power level of Hearthstone has increased quite a lot, so hero powers are gone down a lot in value, which is why we didn't see, like they brought back Gen and Baku, and like literally no one cares except for some even locks, because hero powers are just not what they're supposed to be, right? Hero powers give you card advantage, and because you do something that is usually subpar in power level, but you get cards back because you didn't play a card, which is kind of like drawing a card. So your hero powers basically do something, draw a card. Compared to if it would be a card, the text on it would be do this exact same thing and draw a card afterwards, right? Which is not really that's something most classes care about, because they always have a full hand, they have a million resources, nobody runs out of stuff. You either overrun your opponent or you like OTK them. You're rarely ever play until you don't have enough resources anymore. Like that is not really a thing that's happening. That's why all the hero power stuff isn't super impactful. And this is why, like, if you get a new hero, you also get a new hero power. This is not super impactful, right? So, but this has some other nice side effects, because a lot of heroes from the past have like some really cool battle cries. And some have some really strong effects, like DrBoom Mad Genius. If you get this, like he has some really sick hero powers, and all your mechs having rush and stuff like that kind of just changes the dynamic of the game. A lot of heroes are more control-ish, and sometimes the like Burger Rogue likes to play very control-ish. This is why I like this a lot. Anyway, I think it's a pretty nice card. Always, thanks for sticking through the Rogue video. Remember that you're valuable and you matter, and we'll see you in the Warlock class with all the cards that Rogue will be able to use.